live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125. This is Joe News Prime with me, Samuel Kojo Brace. Our lead stories are GRA-SML Deal. Akufo-Addo releases KPMG report. We have details of that report for you here. Also, PIAC warns Ghana Gas could suffer a major hit operationally if its $600 million indebtedness to the GMPC is not addressed immediately. We'll bring you details as Ghana Gas calls out VRA for its inability to meet its debt service obligations. And also, if you're not deliberately devolving or devaluing the cedi to benefit, fix it ASAP. Words of Guta president who says his members are frustrated by the continuous slump of the cedi.
We have to solve this problem ASAP. If it is not the deliberate policy of government to devalue the currency.
We have details, but as the cedi continues to struggle, is the answer dollarization? We hear from a banker who is banking the idea.
Dollarization is not a silver bullet. That stop one of the major crimes being committed against the people of the country.
We will also take you around the Accra and show you some of the devastation the downpour left in its wake. At 8 p.m., I hand over to Emma Davis to bring you Prime Business.
Association of Oil Marketing Companies hints of imminent fuel shortage as they now rely on stocks at their service stations due to the tanker drivers' strike.
How are my members managing? We're not managing anything. There's no movement. So, as it stands, my members are selling products that they have in tank, so everything is drawn down. Then there'll be no fuel in the market. Sure.
Let's begin with what I like to call same script, different date. I'm referring to the flood in Accra. Two people narrowly escaped death at Teshi in Accra when they got trapped under rubble when the roofing of a story building ripped off during the Wednesday's thunderstorm. The two have since been rescued by eyewitnesses and first responders who were swift to lend assistance. The devastation in Teshi is one of the damages the storm left in its wake. Latif Idrisu has been out there and has come through with this report.
Wednesday's storm left a trail of devastation in its wake in parts of the national capital of Accra. One of such devastation is what lies here in the middle of the road here in Teshi, a suburb of the national capital, where we understand two people were actually trapped in their own vehicle under the roof of this story building you see by my side. We understand the roofing came down when the intensity of the storm became so high that it ripped the roof of the story building, and the two individuals who were sitting in the vehicle right in front of this story building got trapped under the rubble. But thankfully, we understand by eyewitnesses that the first responders who were quickly to respond at the scene, that is the Ghana National Fire Service officers, managed to rescue them, and one of them is currently receiving treatment at a hospital close by. The municipal chief executive of the area has been quick to the scene here to assess the level of damage that has been done to the school building. And we would quickly like to engage him to find out what he makes of the situation.
The susceptibility of our structures to the roofing is partly a function of poor design. The real solution to all of this is to build the roofs with tile. Tile is not susceptible to rusting. And it's also heavy, so the wind can't lift it up. But the cost of tiling is about 3 or 4 times the cost of roofing.
But cheap is expensive.
If you had every year we fix them. So it's about time we really took a look at that. And
are you putting in place any mechanism to forestall any future devastations like we've just observed? Or you are leaving it to chance?
No, we are not leaving it to chance. We don't have the capacity in terms of human resources to inspect all the structures. Normally, our focus when it rains like this is on public buildings. mainly schools, all sorts of schools, and medical schools and health facilities. So today, that was what I was going to inspect, schools and the health facilities, to be sure that they were okay. Because on those ones, we have direct responsibility. But now that we have seen this, we will announce and we'll try and create some public awareness as to what can happen. And usually when people see this has received quite a lot of publicity. And I'm sure the others who are constructing their houses will also take it in mind. Now, if we don't fix this in the next time, everything will be off, and we have to quickly move to fix it, which is actually why I came. This is why I came, so that I could appraise issues for myself at first hand, and then we'll see what we have to do.
Okay. So we will get in there and then look at the situation for you to better appreciate the damage that has been done here at the Teshi Senior High School, Teshi Presby Senior High School. And this is what you find, but we understand that authorities are going to work around the clock to ensure that interim measures are put in place to fix the situation so that at least students can return in their classroom. So that is just one of the classrooms. So the Ghana National Fire Service were the first responders to report to the scene to save the situation for the two individuals who were trapped under this rubble. The leader of the team is here to speak to us quickly.
This is a two-story building being used as a banking hall. And then as a result of the rain, the roof ripped off and then it fell on two vehicles. Two persons were trapped and one has been sent to a family health hospital. But upon our arrival, we did not meet the patient. So he has been sent to a family health hospital. But we were able to get the other vehicle. There was another, I think, Toyota Corolla here. So we were able to rescue that particular driver and also the vehicle off the roof. So now what we are trying to do here, we are trying to clear this because traffic has been blocked over there because the road here is blocked. So we are now trying to make way to cut through this particular roof so that we can get it off the road to make traffic flow easy for the public.
Quite a devastation there. But is this how this season is going to be? We're joined by Felicita Hiafeno, who is Chief Weather Forecaster at the Ghana Meteorological Agency, and she joins us via Zoom here. I'm grateful to you for joining us. How much rain did Accra receive to have caused all this damage, and what was the magnitude of the storm?
Felicity. Yeah, good evening, if you can hear me. Yeah. I think I've mixed your question.
Okay, so if you can repeat for me. So I wanted to find out from you, how much rain did Accra record, and how was the, thunderstorm that passed through the city?
Currently, we don't have the figures yet, but then per the satellite imagery and the radar that we are using, it's likely most areas will record above 50 millimeters of rainfall.
So if you are breaking down for the common man to understand, what does that mean?
That is the volume of the water that came out of the rain clouds that we predicted that will engulf the country this morning into the afternoon and some areas later in the day. So the rainfall that comes out of it, but in terms of the accumulation, some areas are likely to have 50 and above. Okay. Also, some areas are likely to have below the 50 millimeters.
Will the thunderstorms be a characteristic of this season's rains? Because the last time it happened, we saw the devastation. Today, too, we've seen one. Is that how it's going to be?
Yes, for the start of the season, yes, this is what we are anticipating over most portions of the country. Anytime we have rain, it's likely to be accompanied with the thunder, lightning, and moderate or strong winds. So from now till middle of June, this is the type that we're anticipating over the southern sector. And then from now till somewhere in September, is what we're anticipating for those in the transition into the northern sector. So we should expect this type of rainfall. But then as the days progresses towards July, we expect the intensity to start dropping so that it will give way to just moderate or slight rain without thunder.
Okay, grateful to you, Felicity, for joining us here. Now, she is Chief Weather Forecaster at the Ghana Meteorological Agency. From that, President Akufo-Addo has released the KPMG audit report on the controversial Ghana Revenue Authority and Strategic Mobilization Limited (SML) contract. This comes weeks after a section of Ghanaians, including civil society organizations, insisted that the many infractions in the contract demanded that the full report be made public. Now, let's share with you what the report says, the report by KPMG, the report that everybody was asking the president to release. Now, let's look at the background. It says the President of the Republic of Ghana, in a letter dated 29 December 2023, appointed KPMG to conduct an audit of the contract and related transactions between the GRA and the SML. Now, KPMG subsequently engaged the Office of the President on 12 January 2024. This follows a public discussion on the subject matter that the contract may not have been in the interest of the state. Our understanding, that's KPMG's understanding, is that the contract were intended to enhance revenue assurance in the downstream and upstream petroleum sectors, as well as the minerals and metals resource value chain. What was the objective of this particular work that KPMG was supposed to do? Now, the overall objective of the engagement is for KPMG to review the work and activities of SML in relation to the contract with GRA and assess the propriety of procurement and contracting processes, as well as the appropriateness of cost-value analysis in the performance of the contract. So that was the objective of this. Now, how did the work really, or how was the work carried out? Let's go at the scope. It says, 1, ascertain the rationale or needs assessment performed prior to the contract approval by GRA and assess how the arrangement aligns with specific needs. 2, assess the appropriateness of the contracting methodology, verifying compliance with legal standards and industry best practices in the procurement process for the selection of SML. Again, evaluate the degree of alignment between current activities and the stipulated contract scope, identifying any deviations thereof. 4, evaluate the value or benefit that SML has so far offered to the GRA through this engagement, this particular contract. 5, review the financial arrangement, including pricing structures, payment terms, and resolution of any financial compliance issues. And 6, submit a report on findings of the above together with appropriate recommendations. So that was the scope of work that was done. So let's look at what KPMG, after it had done the work, recommended to the presidency to do. Now, it says, so this section provides options to address the identified key findings from our audit of GRA service contract with SML. Now, the recommendations are premised on the assumption that the contract upon which the arrangement between the GRA and SML stands are not void at this time or voidable at the time of reporting. However, if parliamentary approval is not obtained, the contract may be unenforceable. Those are the words of KPMG. Now, the options presented are also not meant to be construed as legal advice. They only serve to illustrate the possible implications of the choices available in remediating the issues with the agreement and transactions involving the contracting parties. Now, the following resolution options may be considered. A, termination. What does it say? It says, the consolidated revenue assurance contract, like other service contracts, grant both parties the right to terminate under specific circumstances. A, either party can terminate upon a material breach by the other, provided the defaulting party fails to cure within 90 days of written notice. B, GRA possesses the unilateral right to terminate with or without cause by providing 120 days written notice. But a caveat here. However, termination for the sole purpose of awarding the service or contract to another developer constitutes termination without cause. That was the caveat there. C, SML can also terminate upon, quote, a termination event, unquote, including GRA's failure to pay undisputed amount within 60 days or a material breach of non-monetary terms not rectified within 30 days of written notice. All of this plus more is what you find when you go onto myjoyonline.com. So if you want detailed, the details of this particular report by KPMG, which has been released by the presidency, go onto myjoyonline.com and you get details of this particular report. And this is because the public, you and I, really forced the presidency to release the report. Earlier, the presidency denied the request to release it. But tonight, the presidency says, for fairness and openness, they have released that, and that's why we're sharing that with you. Now, the Public Interest Accountability Committee is warning the Ghana Gas Company could suffer a major hit operationally if its indebtedness to the Ghana National Petroleum Company, GNPC, is not addressed immediately. Now, in its 2023 annual report, PIAC says Ghana Gas cumulative indebtedness for the supply of raw gas stood at over $604 million. But Ghana Gas says the rise in its debt is as a result of the Volta River Authority's inability to meet its debt obligation service. Now, let's take a listen to Chairperson of PIAC, Professor Elizabeth Adefio-Shandoff.
Ghana Gas Limited Company's indebtedness to Ghana National Petroleum Corporation continues to rise despite the use of the cash waterfall mechanism to address the legacy debts. This trend, if not mitigated, could impair the operational viability of the Ghana Gas Limited Company.
So that's the chairperson of PIAC there. Now, let's go on the phone lines now and speak to ranking on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament. We also tried and tried to understand how all of this, does work. But we cannot speak to an energy analyst who himself has been a past member of PIAC, Ishmael Ejigom, and he joins us on the line now. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining us. How can we salvage the continuous decline in the drop in oil production, for example? Because PIAC says for the past 4 years, Ghana's oil production has been declining continuously. How can we salvage this situation?
To your viewers, it's as simple as that. We need to develop more production fields. We only have, basically 2 oil fields and another gas field. So, and once you start production and ramp up production to the peak and plateaus and starts declining. When we discovered Jubilee, it was clear that the field will be active for maximum 20 years. So we need to, the fields where new discoveries have been made, we need to make sure that they develop the fields and they start producing. Otherwise, the industry will be very, very short-lived.
But PIAC also says the last time we signed a petroleum agreement was as far back as 2018. There was none signed in 2023. What does that mean to our industry? Is our industry not becoming attractive?
No, and even those businesses, those IOCs or those private sector people who've made discoveries, you know that there are some legal tussles that are still going on, delaying some projects where government or Ministry of Energy is asking fields to be unitized, and there are disputes. So not only are we not having new agreements being signed, but even those who found oil haven't developed the fields for one reason or the other. So even if you look beyond the fact that we're not signing new agreements, if somebody finds oil, they should be excited to develop the fields, but that is also not happening, and because of one reason or the other. So this is not, I don't think, is a new discovery. It's always been known that unless we up our game, production will start declining, and then very soon there wouldn't be industry, which would be very disastrous for so many reasons.
Okay, Doc, I'm grateful. Let me now bring in the ranking on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, John Abdullahi Jinapo. Grateful to you, John, for joining. How did we arrive at a situation where Ghana Gas is unable to settle its debt owed to GNPC with a warning that, if not mitigated, could affect its operations?
Hello.
Hello. John, did you hear me? I want to find out from you how we arrived at a situation where Ghana Gas is unable to settle its debt to GNPC with a warning by the PIAC that if this is not mitigated, it could affect the operations of Ghana Gas.
Well, as you may be aware, the cash waterfall mechanism is not working the way it should. The PRC itself has reported on a monthly basis that the cash waterfall mechanism is not being adhered to. We're talking of gas that has been delivered, gas that has been used to generate power, and yet payment is not being made. One of the reasons being the fall in currency. We feel in cities that the payment based on the WACC is denominated in US. So the city keeps depreciating. It means that even with the same correction, there's very little TG and remit back through the value chain. The losses have also increased to about 30%. Government agencies are not paying their bills, and that is captured in the PRC reports. So clearly, these are some of the reasons why we find ourselves with such a staggering debt. Because of some of this debt, ENI had to draw down on the LC put out by the World Bank. And so my last check indicates that of the 500 million, they've drawn down close to 120 million, which means that we're just at the tip of default. And so this sector, if nothing is done, my worry is that by the end of the year, the energy sector can come crashing and it will collapse.
That's a scary thing to predict. Now, who along the value chain must carry the blame for where we are?
That's why we put people into office to solve our problems. And so first of all is the issue of policy. What policy is this government implementing? Are the policies working? If the policies are not working, then obviously it's government. You remember the PDS scandal? We lost $190 million. PDS is still holding some of our money. ECG losses are going up. There's so much politicization in the energy sector, and so there's loss of confidence. What is even worsening it now is that now we have to be buying light crude oil instead of increasing gas, because we have a huge problem with ENI. ENI is in court with us. ATM has left this country. ExxonMobil has left this country. Anadakum has left this country. Crude oil production has dipped from 190,000 to 138,000. Since 2019, there's been a reduction of production for about 30%. And so we are losing revenue as a nation. And Ghana is no more an attractive petroleum destination. And that is what is affecting the entire value chain, including the gas sector.
Interesting. But you're on the committee in Parliament. What are you doing about the situation?
The committee directed ECG to do certain things. ECG has refused to do that as we speak, including the publication of the load shedding timetable, including prompt payments and strict adherence to the cash water. The president, right?
We're losing you, John. I'm grateful to you for joining us here. John Jinapo is ranking on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament. Away from that, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, is tasking government to immediately halt the cedi's decline if it is not benefiting from the current depreciation. Some, including Guta, have speculated that the government may be benefiting from the city's woes indirectly with dollar-denominated loans coming in. President of Guta, Dr. Joseph Obeng, says the only way government can show they are not deliberately devaluing the city to benefit from the crisis is to take action to end the city's steep decline.
How can we wait? We have to get a solution, and we are ready. The stakeholders are ready. The trading community are ready. The industries are ready. The agricultural industry, everybody is ready, because this thing that is happening does not help the general economy itself. And to the consuming public, they are also very ready. We all have to find a serious problem to this. Much as we agree that excessive importation is a part of this problem, we have professed so many solutions to government that we know where the problem is. The locals, our total share of the imports in this country is less than 20%. If you bring the Ireland Bank of Ghana have infused about 59 million. It is a peanut amount for China Mall, Chinatown, and the Chinese trading companies to consume in a day or two. And so we have to use investment laws to contain these people, to make sure that they bring in a corresponding fund of their of import. It shouldn't be that they just come and open these companies and bring the goods into the country and change it into dollars. They have to bring their capital in dollars in the forest so that they can use it to import.
Well, the city is currently trading beyond 15 cities on the open market, and already some analysts are suggesting Ghana should just adopt the US dollar as its currency to fix the situation once and for all. Chief Executive Officer of the Delex Finance, Ken Thompson, believes dollarizing the economy will take out the central bank's illegal act that continues to fuel the city's decline.
Dollarization is not a silver bullet. That stopped one of the major crimes being committed against the people of this country. Over the years, the Bank of Ghana showed itself incapable of managing our monetary policy. So what they do is that they have shown that they are not independent. So they connive with the government under the guise, if they don't give the government money, the economy will collapse. Sums of money, the government stops the money, and then we are asked to pay through higher and higher taxation. For example, the current depreciation and the current inflation we're facing is largely a result of the Bank of Ghana providing almost about 50 billion pumped into the economy in 2022. So at least that major crime is taken away. They get the government money. It causes inflation, it causes depreciation. We are poorer, we are standstill. The money that's given is not backed by any productivity, and we are poorer every day as a result. I mean, of course, other things must happen, but at least that major crime cannot be committed again.
Now, this is still the Joe News Prime. Now to other stories. Now, Minister for Information, Fatima Abubakar, says the recent deal between SNIT and Rock City is aided at restructuring SNIT, facilitating its recovery and strengthening the scheme. According to her, the owner of Rock City has extensive experience in the hospitality industry, which positions him well to acquire shares in SNIT-owned hotels. She made the comment during a courtesy call, a visit to the Multimedia Group Limited.
If there was a decision over 5 years by the fund managers that we want to divest, let us get other people who are able to inject capital so that these facilities are revamped, they are fixed in such a way that they will be competitive and generate more revenue. It's a good thing to do. Most of the successful businesses, when it comes to state-owned interests, you realize that the current trends everywhere is that they are running JVs, joint ventures, bring other people with capital, give them some shares. Also, not just about the money that they inject in, but also the technical capacity. It is not given that if you're a fund manager, you also have expertise in running hotels. So for sustainable models to run, it is also important that you bring people who have experience and who have capacity to run. And it is also interesting that people have forgotten that Rock City is now known as one of the biggest, if not the biggest, hotel facility in the sub-region. If that is the case, the kind of market they are drawing, the goodwill, the branding that they have, the facilities that they have put up, is a testament to the fact that competitively, just as any other hospitality company, they have capacity to bid. If these are open calls published in newspapers for everyone with interest to also come and show interest, and then all of a sudden, because a Ghanaian, irrespective of political parties, a Ghanaian with capacity and with the means to inject capital and take some shares so that he is able to revamp the businesses, upgrade the assets. And in this Accra, especially now that I'm in the ministry, organizing conventions and events, you realize that we need huge investments in the hospitality sector. Have we looked at the processes that SNIT had to go through over the period? Did we have queries? Why were those queries not raised? Is it only because this person is also politically exposed? All of a sudden, his credit score is not taken into consideration, his financial capacity that precedes his political office and even precedes his coming into office as MP. It means nothing.
Well, the visit by the minister was to afford her the opportunity to engage with stakeholders and outline current programs being implemented by the ministry. Madam Abubakar hinted there is continuous advocacy for the passage of the broadcasting bill, which aims to streamline the regulatory framework.
This year, we are also very much interested in pushing for the passage of the broadcasting bill. And as we believe our final draft is ready, we want to engage our stakeholders and let them know our intention to pursue passage of the bill, so that when the time is due and we come public with what's the steps or the roadmap that we have towards the passage, there will be consensus and all our stakeholders would express support, not just express, but be part of the process. It is supposed to streamline the regulatory framework. Under the current dispensation, the National Media Commission regulates contents, and the National Communications Authority regulates spectrum, especially for electronic media. These are authorities that is drawn from completely different laws. And it is important that with that in mind and seeing the kind of vacuum and spaces that exist within the media space when we don't have a broadcasting bill, the bill is also intended to take care of current trends and key developments within the media space.
Fatima Abubakar is Ghana's Minister for Information. This is still the Joy News Prime. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Please do stay. Back from the break, this is still the Joy News Prime. Now, let's do some more stories here. Now, the Wa High Court, presided over by Justice Yusuf Asibe, has adjourned to June 12 the case of 3 persons accused of murdering the owner of Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, otherwise known as Gerapart Dubai. The case was adjourned after a letter purported to be from the Chief Justice was presented to the court by a lawyer of the first accused, Clement Elidi, directing that the case be transferred to Kumasi. The supervising Wa High Court Judge, Justice Yusuf Asibe, ruled for the adjournment pending further verification and pending instruction from the Chief Justice. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
The former Wa District Council office, 10 Wa High Court, was full to the rafters. The spectators came early to hear the start of the trial of 3 persons accused of killing 62-year-old owner of the Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, Eric Johnson. The 3 accused persons, former Human Resource Manager of the Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, Eliza Fenyiche Mahama, front desk officer Belinda Miller, and security guard Kweku Kombata started at the Ward District Court in February following their arrest over the alleged murder of the Europa Dubai owner at his private residence in February. The trio were remanded into police and prison custody to enable the prosecution wrap up their investigations. The case was therefore transferred to the High Court for the trial to begin. They were indicted 2 weeks ago, and the jury panel for the trial impaneled, and the trial slated for today. Said Abdul Shakur is the principal state attorney and leading the prosecution.
Before we could start, counsel for the accused person then gave us a copy and gave a copy of a letter to the court and to us, saying that the CJ has asked that the case be transferred to Kumasi. And so he wanted the court to order for it to be transferred, and I argued that that was not right and that there was no letter from the CJ to the court because we are not dealing with the High Court. The letter that was shown to us was addressed to a district court, and the instructions were that after indictment the case should be sent to Kumasi. But at the time that we saw this letter, we had already put it before High Court, and we had empaneled and we're about to commence trial, and we had actually prayed the court to let us have a daily trial of the case so that we expect that at least by July we should have been done and over.
Now we see death every day. The words of 46-year-old end-stage kidney failure patient Gifty Labi. Her condition has prevented her from passing urine for the past 11 years, relying on dialysis treatment to remove waste from her body. However, getting money for the twice-in-a-week session continues to be a challenge for her and many others. In our Dialysis Crisis series today, Maxwell Agbagba shares their story and how some of them have expressed fear that they may not live long enough to witness the government's promises to come to their aid.
A press conference by the Renal Patients Association of Ghana is underway. Midway, a woman in her 50s breaks down in tears, pleading for government intervention to reduce the soaring cost of dialysis treatment. Despite her impassioned plea, little has changed since then. This was sometime last year, and the cost of dialysis has only continued to rise, exacerbating the plight of renal failure patients across the country. Her tears echo the daily struggles of those battling kidney failure.
I've never passed urine since 11 years now. Yeah, because you eat, you drink, because the kidney is spoiled.
Meet Gifty Labi, a 46-year-old woman grappling with the harsh reality of kidney failure, unable to afford dialysis treatment twice a week. She and many others are forced to make unimaginable sacrifices, often skipping meals and limiting their water intake to manage the burden of waste in their bodies.
When we are there, we discuss what happens to us. Oh, today...
This is what you see death approaching?
We see death every day. We see. And you ask yourself, am I the next person? Because they are strong more than you. So you ask yourself, who will be next? You know, that you think about it. You're a human being, you think about it. So it's scary too. Sometimes when you are there, it's very, very scary. As you don't have money to go for dialysis and you are suffering. You can't breathe. You drink the water, it enters into your lungs. Then your breathing starts. When you're working, you'll be doing like, this is how you breathe. That's how you breathe. And your face will be swollen. When your friend who has CKD see you, say, where they are tired. See that way? Yeah. Then you know, you yourself, you know you are suffering.
Then you are there, then one person's picture will be sent. So and so has died.
I'm now at Tema to meet the daughter of a renal failure patient, 26-year-old Stella Owusu. Stella's mother, Georgina Pia, was the woman who cried during the press conference last year. Our story secured her help from the Mother's Heart Foundation, and she now gets free dialysis treatment. This will last for 1 year. Stella says it has mitigated the suffering of her family, but says many families continue to suffer in pain.
Even bringing my mom to this private facility, 460 cedis twice a week, I don't even get it. So it's once a week I get for my mom. I'll call church members, I'll call friends, and then they'll contribute and I'll bring her. If government sector is charging this amount, it's just a matter of time before the private facilities that we are currently patronizing also increase their prices.
Gifty Labi's plight of skipping meals and reducing water intake just to limit her need for dialysis is not unique. Many others find themselves in similar circumstances, yearning for relief from the crushing burden of dialysis costs. Despite assurances from government officials, including plans for legislation on organ donations and transplants, patients fear they may not live long enough to witness these promises come to fruition. Here are some of them who've been expressing their concerns and their daily.
Well, let's do showbiz now, and Becky Bex is joining with all the gist that you have to hear today. Hi, Becky, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good.
Let's talk about Joe Mettle. You know, his annual Worship and Praise concert that Praise Reloaded slated for Sunday, June 30, 2024. This 12th edition promises to be bigger and better than ever. So Joe Mettle spoke to Joy News at the launch of this event earlier. Well, we can now wait for the 30th of June for Praise Reloaded, but let's move away and go to the U.S. Ghanaian musician Ofori-Atta has addressed the world's high-level delegates at the ongoing international dialogue on migration held at the United Nations headquarters. In his address, Atta reflected on his journey as the goodwill ambassador of the International Organization for Migration, Ghana, a role he has passionately embraced since 2017. Atta shared what motivated him to accept the ambassadorial deal position, highlighting the significant influence of IOM's work. Quote, IOM has helped a lot of returnees. They always end their stories by saying IOM reintegrated me. IOM helped me to come back. So when I was contacted by IOM in 2017, I immediately accepted the offer. He recounted his words underscore the deep impact of IOM's initiatives on the lives of countless individuals who have been successfully reintegrated into their communities. Ofori-Atta there. Making Ghana proud all the time. But Brace, let me take you to Dubai, because in the quest to make the capital of the United Arab Emirates a major player in the global art scene, Abu Dhabi has initiated a new development that will excite art and culture lovers. The Saadiyat Culture District has been launched and now open to the world. It has been designed to satisfy the different taste of different people across the globe. Here is more. And that ends showbiz here on Joy News Prime, Breeze.
And that ends the bulletin as well. Okay, but remember to brush your teeth before you go to bed this evening, and tomorrow morning when you wake up from bed with either the Pepsodent cavity fighter,
Pepsodent charcoal and Pepsodent herbal or Pepsodent triple protection, because with Pepsodent every smile.
Okay, anyway, thanks for joining us to do this. There's more on myjoyonline.com.